بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد. Viewers at home, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You are most welcome to another edition of your program, your refreshing program in the month of Ramadan, Nasfat half hour. Today we shall be looking at an important topic. We want to discuss parenting in Islam, duties of parents to their children. With me in the studio to look at this issue in depth two missionaries of Nasfat, and quite strikingly, both of them are Alima Shams, though they are not related by blood, they are related by Islam. On this side of the studio, I have the National Dawah Officer of Nasfat, Imam Usman Alima Shams. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Also joining Usman Alima Shams in the studio is our brother, the missioner of Nasfat and the director for training and education at the National Mission Board, currently at Amu University Branch as a branch missioner, and of course the lecturer at the Yabatek, our brother Imam Mansour Alima Shams. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.
Looking at the issue of parenting in Islam, and because we know the society is made of nuclear family, and for us to build any family, it has to start from the basis. Ustaz Maruf, Usman and Masha, what is required of a Muslim even before a child comes into this world? How do we prepare for a child that is coming?
Thank you very much, and I'm very glad to be on here today. In Islam, what is important is in bringing about a good family is that of having the right spouse. This is very, very important. Someone gave a joke, what the lessons in it. He said that the wedding ring is the smallest handcuff ever in the world, and therefore, as a human being, you have to select your breathing mate wisely, and also sentence yourself very wisely. There is wisdom in this speech by this individual. It is very, very important for us to have the right spouse, because the family is laid on the fundamental of having the right wedding, the right marital partner. So this is very important. That is why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us that when you are selecting your partner, there are so many reasons. He mentioned 4 in a particular hadith, whereby people that inform the choices of the type of partner people make. But most importantly, he said that the one that is deemed, the one that has the religion, is very, very important. So, in raising a family, the basic thing is that of having the right partner, who must, if a male or female, must be well grounded in the aspect of religion. So that is key in having the right family.
Okay, so what we are trying to say is that parenting starts from even before a child is born, because it's only a good tree that can bear good fruit, and that is clear. So our viewers at home, if you want to be a good parent, you hold the duty to your unborn child to ensure that whether as a male or a female, you choose the right partner. Ustaz Mansour Alima Shams, let us assume that a child, somebody has chosen the right partner, the marriage has been consummated, and the child is now born. What are the basic things, the first responsibility expected of a father when a child is newly born?
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's a good question. But before we try this question, I want us to go to Al-Quran. Now when we are coming to this world, the first thing that Allah told human beings is إِنَّا عَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فَأَبَيْنَ أَنْ يَحْمِلْنَهَا فحملناها وأشفقنا منها وأمل الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. That when Allah has the heaven, that I want to give a trust to you, the heaven rejects. Why they have rejected? But man took that trust, and that trust he took, Allah says is unjust and is ignorant of what is going to take. So, as a human being, if you want to have a child, there are certain things that you have to do. The first one, when the child was born, the first thing to do is to call Adhan to the left side and to the right side, and the comma to the left hand side. Then the second, even while the child is still in the womb, the father must tell the woman that Allah can do and undo. If whether I'm alive or not, or whether this child is a stillbirth or not, please name this child this name. Whether this is a man, this is a boy, this is the name. If it's a girl, this is the name. Because the Prophet told us that on the day of resurrection, everybody will be called by the name. So, if what we are doing now, that the 7 days or 8 days before we name our child, we were told that the Prophet one day called the Sahaba that yesterday we gave birth to a child and we have named that child so. And it shows that even when it is in the womb, you can name the child. Even one of the wives of the Prophet Aisha, we are told that she always called Abdullah, despite the fact that she doesn't have a child. But she believes that if I'm going to have a child, this is the name that I'm going to name my child. Then the second one is, if you have a child, you must make sure that you shave the head of the baby. And what is the philosophy behind it? The Prophet says, if you shave the child's head, make sure that hair is given to the ghost meat. Let them wait for you, and when you wait, use that money as a sadaqah. It shows that when this child comes to the world, the first thing he did is sadaqah.
Okay, thank you very much. It's not clear to viewers that it is a duty upon the father to ensure that the child is named immediately the child is born. The idea of waiting till the 7th or the 8th day, as told by Imam, even though it's done, it's allowed, but it's just for the public knowledge of what the name of the child is. But for immediate family members, once the child is born, that child should be named. In fact, the Prophet was reported to have said that do not put difficulty on the part of the child by not naming that child on the day, because the consequence is that, God forbid, if a child is not named on the day he was born, and the child dies before the 7th day, such a child's resurrection will be very difficult. May Allah not give us such a child. The next question will be, now that a child has been named, and how should the Africa should be celebrated? We are living in a society whereby culture has really intermingled with religion. How should an Africa be celebrated? That is the feast of Thanksgiving on the 7th day after the child is born.
Generally, in the religion of Islam, the issue of modesty, moderacy, permeates the religion of Islam, everything we do. So it should be our watchword, whether in Akiko, in Janaza, in Nikah. Modesty and being moderate is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us through His noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In organizing or celebrating the Akiko of the child, we invite people, Muslims, family members, neighbors, and people near and far. When they come, we are allowed to, the Sunnah taught us to slaughter a ram if it is a female child. If it is a male child, we slaughter 2 rams. And that is even if we have the financial capability. we slaughter this and we share to those that are present. We can also cook food, it is allowed. We cook food and ensure that people that are attending the akiko are well fed, and they are given food to eat and also given drinks to take. But it's also important for us that if we can also invite scholars of Islam to conduct the ceremony. But again, this shouldn't be a jamboree. It shouldn't be an avenue for scholars to want to rip off the father of the baby. It shouldn't be a time to collect money until time we go for Zoom. We cannot observe our scholars at the appropriate time. This is very, very important for us to ensure that we take note. So the akiko must be a modest one, and this also has effect on the child itself that we are giving a name.
Thank you. The akika is important, but it should be modest. Islam is a religion of moderation. Viewers at home, brothers and sisters in Islam, if you are just joining in this Nasfat half hour, that's the program in Ramadan sponsored by Nasfat National Headquarters. And if you want to be part of that program, please contact us through some of our the numbers are being scrolled on your screen. And it is also important to mention the fact that Nasfat has also provided platform for those of our brothers and sisters in Islam who may want to go on Umrah in the last 10 days of Ramadan to partake, to have your letters recorded in the Holy Land. If you care to do that, please contact Nasfat Tours and Travels, which is a platform, the agency for tours and travels in Nasfat, 9 and 10 CMD Magodo GRA. And of course, for those who want to pay their zakat in the month of Ramadan, Nasfat has also provided a platform, in Nasfat Agency for Zakat and Sadaqah. It's also situated in the same complex, 9 and 10 CMD Road, Magodo, Lagos. Now that the child's name has been shared with the public through the Akika celebrated moderately as emphasized by Imam Uthman and Mashal, how do we now bring up the child? The child now has a name, a beautiful name. How do we now bring up the child?
Having named the child, I want us to look at what the sociology says. That we have 3 homes. And these 3 homes will play a part in the life of a child. We have the autocratic home, we have the severe home, and democratic home. An autocratic home is a home that the father of the child is authoritarian, with authority, who always issue one authority, and nobody can query question that commandment. While the second one is everybody, the man, the wife, and the child, they are independent. The third one is democratic. And then that democratic is the one that the Prophet supported. Because in a democratic home, the first thing that the child needs from the parent is education. You realize that in the Quran, even Prophet Adam, Allah told us that the first thing, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا ثُمَّ رَدَمَ الْمَلَائِكَةَ. The first one is that Allah taught Adam education. So the father needs to educate the child or his children. That's the first thing. Because if the child does not have education, then it shows that in the future that child is going to be a failure. The second one is upbringing. That upbringing as well has to do with the father or the mother, because when they settle any of their child's difficulties or challenges, you will realize that they will be able to upbring that child to the level that Allah has set. What we are saying in essence is that they should bring their children in the way of Allah by teaching them Western education and Islamic education.
Thank you. You mentioned Western and Islamic education. Ustaz Abdul, I remember I stumbled on a tradition of the Prophet that talks about, ensuring that a child prays, a parent encourage a child to pray at the age of 7 and get polished by the age of 10 if he or she is negligent of prayer. Is this part of the upbringing that Islam is saying? Please, can you elaborate on this?
Yes, before elaborating on the issue of upbringing associated to Salat, I think I will also have to mention the different types of names the religion of Islam has encouraged us to give our children. Islam, through Prophet Muhammad has taught us that the best of names that we can give our children are those names that are named after Allah. Just like Abdullah, we have the 99 attributes of Allah. We can give we relate the servitude of human beings to Allah. That Allah, we can have Abdullah, Abdul Rahman, Abdul Qudus, and so on and so forth. Prophet Muhammad also encouraged us to name our children after prophets of Allah, and also himself, the names of Prophet Muhammad. He also has some attributes like Muhammad, like Mahmud, like Toha, Yasin, and so on and so forth. So these are names that we Muslims can give our children. Now, talking about the aspect of Salat, Prophet Muhammad has given us a 3-year training period for our children. When the children attain the age of 7, we have to start training in, ensuring that he or she observes Salat. And at the age of 10, that's after 3 years, if the child becomes negligent of Salat, the Prophet Muhammad we should punish, we should scold the child. But in the issue of scolding and punishing, there are lessons, there are ways to do this. But we cannot go into that so much. But part of the upbringing of our child, and in fact, a scholar has divided the upbringing of children into 3. We take care of the physical aspect of the child. We prepare the child physically, the body, the clothes, the environment must be well kept. Then also, morally, we also take care of the moral aspect of the child upbringing, which is also teaching the child the religion of Allah. A child that is well taught, well brought up in the religion of Allah, that child will actually be an asset to himself, his family, and to the entire world.
Thank you, Ustaz Usman. So, the issue is about, you just mentioned moral education. And we discover in our science today, the problem with us is about the erosion of moral values. Our children do these days, they walk around, they don't know how to greet elders. Sometimes some of them, enter public bus, and elders will be sitting. They will be sitting, elders will be standing. They find it difficult to even stand up. These are issues that some of us who are now adults, who are trained with our parents, how do you think these can be inculcated in children as they grow up in life?
Thank you very much. We realize that let's say Nigeria in general, or the world at large, is already morally bankrupt. The only saving grace now is alcohol. Quran, if you are able to read very well and assimilate, realize that many instances in the Quran, we are allowed to do what to do. But we realize that majority of our children today, we witness that the problem we are witnessing comes from home. You have a father who is a heavy smoker, and you send your child to go and buy a cigarette for you. And if you buy that cigarette, you realize that you cannot afford, you can now use paper and smoke as well. A father who sends his child to go and buy ogogoro or any alcohol, you realize that that child will do also drink. A child that you send to go and do pool betting, all this betting, all this lottery, you realize that even if you give that child money, the child will use that money to go and do betting.
So what we are saying is that it should be practical guidance.
Practical guidance.
So whatever you would not want a child to do, you as parents should not do it. Whatever you want a child to do, you should equally do it. Thank you very much. Viewers at home, parents at home, you now hear it, particularly for young couples who are just getting married, those who just have babies, you now know your responsibility towards these gifts of Almighty Allah. You have to ensure that you also provide leadership. Children see their parents as small gods. They see them as the best in terms of morality, in terms of character. So whatever they see you doing, they will want to emulate you. So do good so that they can be good, and God forbid if you do bad, you are also training those children to be bad. Ustaz Osman, now that we have mentioned education is, I think, a lifelong pursuit now. A child now grows up to adulthood. I'm talking of marriage now. What should be the role of parents in the marriage of their child, of their words? What should be their role?
Now we quickly need also to re-emphasize the role of the parents prior the period in which the child will be ready for marriage. And that is he himself, the father or the mother, selecting the right spouse, then doing the right things, educating the child, preparing the child mentally, physically, and also otherwise in other aspects for the challenges of life ahead, and not only this life but also the hereafter. Now when it comes to the selection of spouse, by the time the children, that a particular child has gone through the pre-marriage or marital life period with his or her parents, he or she would have inculcated, he or she would have imbibed some attitudes that will make it easy for the child to have the right attitude in the selection of the partner. So when the parents now come in, the parents just need to do a little effort, to make a little effort, and the effort will be surely crowned. So the child will have been exposed to people in the selection of what is important, as I've mentioned here, is that the spouse must be a Muslim, and that is, the religion is key here. And this child has been exposed to Islamic education. The child has been exposed, has been in the environment where he or she is learning Islam. The child has been physically, emotionally, mentally, and all other aspects prepared. So the child will be able to make the right choice. And if this has been done very well, the child will, the choice of that spouse will be something that will be acceptable for the parents.
Can a parent, for instance, decide for a child who is now a grown-up of variable age, whom she should marry as a girl, or whom he should marry as a boy? Is it one of the responsibility to decide that, oh, I want you to marry Mr. A, or I want you to marry Miss B?
I do not think it will be right Islamically for a parent to decide for the child. This is also person you have to marry. Maybe the child, the would-be partner is someone, is a friend, is the child of a friend, a business partner, and one there the wealth to continue to be in the family and so on. No. what the child is allowed to choose a partner, and if the partner is not okay, the parents will now come in to advise the child.
Okay.
Accept.
Thank you very much. I have heard that there is no compulsion on the part of a child from his or her parents. What the responsibility of the parents is to encourage, to assist, the children in making their choices. Of course, religion is key here. And perhaps we will have to bring another episode here. We cannot exhaust all that we needed to say on the issue of parenting. It's quite a very wide area, and I'm sure our viewers will agree with me. A lot of families are quite challenged now because of issue of parenting. So I want to make a promise here that we are bringing another episode where some of the other issues which are not covered by this one will be extensively discussed. But before we round up, let me thank the two animations in the studio, Imam Osman Animation, the National Director of Nasfat. Assalamu alaikum, thank you very much. And our Imam from the Abu Dhabi branch, Imam Mansour Animation, Jazakallah khairan. Viewers at home, this how far we can go on this edition of Nasfat half hour. If you want to be with us to join Nasfat to Umrah, you know where to go. Nasfat Tours and Travels Nigeria Limited. If you want to pay your zakat, Nasfat Agency for Zakat and Sadaqah, and you will be ensured that whatever fund you give to us will be judiciously disbursed to those categories of zakat beneficiaries mentioned in the Quran. On that note, I want to thank you for giving us your time, and I say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.